I've been doing stand-up comedy since around 2007. And in all that time, when I sit down to write, for the first few minutes of my writing process, I feel like a new comedian again. Like you have to relearn the things you already know. And so here are the four stages I go through. Stage one is asking myself, what am I passionate about? So this is when I sit down and start writing. And for the first, I would say maybe between 1 to 3 minutes or so, this is where I'm really just scrolling through all the things I've already written. I'm trying to figure out where my curiosity is going to lead me. And here, I really don't know what I'm going to do quite yet. I have a list of ideas that I can use, and sometimes I'm super passionate about one idea. Then, right when I sit down, I'll start working on that idea, and so I'll skip through this step altogether. But that is a rarity. What happens almost every time is that I sit down, and for the first few minutes, I'm going through this process of asking myself, what do I care about? What should I write? So at this point, my excitement level is pretty small because I don't really have any specific thing that is making me excited yet. In stage two, I'm often asking myself, what am I doing right now? So this is a lot of exploration, and I don't quite know the direction I'm going. And so you see that it goes the level of excitement goes up really high because I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do. And then I start thinking about it and I'm like, no, maybe I don't want to do that, or maybe I can do this, no, maybe. And then I go through several of those cycles where I'm like, okay, I'm passionate about this. And as I think about it, I'm like, well, maybe I want to pursue something else. This second stage of trying to figure out what I want to talk about tends to last for maybe about 2 to 3 minutes or so. And again, this is just me skimming through my material, figuring out where my curiosity is going to lead me. After I've been sitting down at the computer for around 5 minutes, eventually I will find an idea that I definitely want to talk about. And so I'm playing around with lots of different ideas, and then one just captures my imagination, and I really feel pulled towards working on that piece of material. This is the stage where I actually decide what I'm going to spend my time on. What will I focus on? So in the second stage, I was asking myself, what am I doing? Stage three is where I say, I think I know what I'm doing. So this stage will last maybe 2 or 3 minutes where I'm really making sure that this is where I want to go. And then after that, I go into this fourth and final stage where I know exactly what it is I want to talk about. And this is where I feel like I have a topic that I'm interested in and I have a point of view that is going to lead me to developing the kind of material that I want to write. Before this final stage where I know what I'm talking about, I am still searching for a good mixture of a topic and a point of view. So the main thing I want you to take away from this is that you need to trust the process. Because I've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you, when I first sit down to write, I go through for the first couple minutes, even though I have the experience, first couple minutes, I am trying to ask myself, what should I do? And then for a few more minutes after that, I am trusting this process, right? I'm still exploring ideas. I don't know what I'm going to come up with either, but I've done this enough times to where I trust this process. I know that if I keep exploring, eventually the same thing that always happens will happen, which is that I find a good combination between a topic and a point of view. I find something that inspires me to write, and then from there, it doesn't matter how rocky the first 5 minutes were. Once I have a good idea, as a storyteller, I can take that one idea and I can create a very long story just out of that. So the first 5 minutes of frustration were well worth it because I get a ton of material once I find something that inspires me. So when you first jump into this vertical writing stage, where you're writing actual stories, not just going through the joke structures, but writing your actual stories that feel organic and real, expect that this kind of thing will happen to you, where for the first 1 or 2 minutes, you will be asking yourself, what should I do? All right, that is an okay thing to do. I want you to know this is going to happen so that you don't start second guessing yourself and thinking that maybe you're doing something wrong. This is just a natural part of the writing process. Once you spend a few minutes writing, then you're going to find that you're testing out ideas, and some ideas are feel awesome, and then you're like maybe not, and then you're going to go up and down, and that's just a natural thing because you're testing out ideas and you're finding out which idea is going to be the one that's going to lead you where you want to go. The longer you spend writing, the more clear you're going to get on the direction that you want to go. So if you only sit down for 5 minutes, then you're probably going to be at the end of the 5 minutes, you'll probably feel like you're maybe not a good writer just because you didn't find anything good in that time. But you're not supposed to. That first couple minutes is where you're really getting into a good mood. You're finding out which idea you want to explore, then you start to explore those ideas. And eventually, if you trust this process, you will find a good combination that will work for you. And then from there, it doesn't matter about anything else. You're going to be so excited to explore this story that it doesn't matter what happened in the past.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out a list of free comedy training resources in the description below.